Tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, good evening everyone. We are talking about sharing of the merit. Sometimes we use transference of the merit or dedication of the merit, right? So whatever language you use, if you understand the purpose of sharing of the merit, then you can use any word, right? Any word. So previous week we talked about Jāṇussoṇī Sutta. So this sutta is
So the to and for, like gives to and versus transfer of the merits for. So in the Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu, right, they mentioned giving to the Sangha firmly. So donation that has been made and firmly planted in the Sangha will serve. So that was quoted. So if you mention directly that you give to the Sangha, then if your one point of view is to give to the food, right? Then how do you support that when they say give to the Sangha and not directly to the Petas? That's the first question.
Okay.
The second question is you mentioned there that the donor must think of the departed one and dedicate his dana to them. But previously it was also mentioned that if your departed one is not there, then you automatically go to people who are your relatives in your current life or your past life. So is there
not automatically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not automatic. Related in your previous life.
Tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, good evening everyone. We are talking about sharing of the merit. Sometimes we use transference of the merit or dedication of the merit, right? So whatever language you use, if you understand the purpose of sharing of the merit, then you can use any word, right? Any word. So previous week we talked about Jāṇussoṇī Sutta. So this sutta is important. So as far as sharing of the merit is concerned, when we want to talk about sharing of the merit in Theravada Buddhism, so we normally quote this sutta. This is one of the important sutta. Number one, so this is a conclusion because previous week we didn't make that. If departed person is a reborn as a beta, he or she can get share our good deed. If they was born as a human being, as a hellish being, as an animist, as a deva, they cannot get share of the merit. Number two, if the departed one that we dedicate is not there to rejoice our good deed, other Petas who were our relatives in our previous life in samsara. So they will receive, share our good deed, share our good deed. Suppose in this life, you have a relative, they already passed away. You do good deed, then you share the merit with them. So when they rejoice, they will get the share of the merit. When your relative was born in other place, let's say in hell, in animal realm, as a deva or as a human being, they cannot get the share of the merit, right? Share of the merit. But there are other relatives in our previous life along samsara. So they will get the share of the merit. So according to Buddhism, there is no one who are not related to us as a relative. So that means everyone is our relative, right? According to Buddhism, one way or another, we are related to each other as a parents and son, as a sister and brother, like that. So we are related. So everyone, we are relative according to Buddhism. If our dedicated person is not there to rejoice our good deed, other relatives in our previous existences, so they will get the share of the merit. So therefore, we normally dedicate itame ñātina, right? May this good deed be for our departed relatives. It can be our relatives in this life who already passed away, and other relatives in our previous existences. Number 3, even though we share the merit in a wrong occasion, so here in a wrong occasion here means the departed one wasn't reborn as a Peta. So he or she was born as a human being on the deva, as the animal realm, as a hellish being. So we will get the benefit of that good deed. Most importantly, you do good deed, that is yours, right? That's yours one. Even they don't get share of the merit. So the good deed you share will be your good deed, right? Your good deed. Even if one was born as an animal because of evil deed, one can still enjoy the result of dana. You do good deed, you do dana, you don't have a sila. Because of that, you might was born as a one of the awful planes, right? One of the awful planes. But you were enjoying the result of your dana. That's the reason why some animals, like a dog pack, right? So they have a full of privilege. So they have a good food, they have a good place to take a rest, right? But they are very rare. They're very rare. So most of the animals, they are undergoing a lot of hardship. But for those who do dana, then you are enjoying. So the result of dana, even if you was born in one of the 4 awful planes, right? Awful planes. So here I want to talk about one of the explanation in the commentary. Even though our merits are shared, they are not all exhausted. They are not all used up. It is just like lighting up thousands of lamps using a flame from a lamp. So here, electricity break up, no electricity, total darkness, right? Somebody light the candle, one candle. Then the other people also trying to light the candle using, the flame from the first candle. So the whole room became very bright, right? Full of light. Just like that, even though we share the merit, your merit is not exhausted, not used up. Your merit increase, right? Increase. Number one, you do good deed. That's the first good deed. Number two, you share the good deed. Second type of good deed, according to commentary. Then I think that if you know this conclusion, I think it will be clear. It will be clear. And also, I want to before that, I want to share one of the statements from Milindapañhā. This is one of the post-canonical texts. It's included in the Pali Canon according to Burmese tradition. The other country like Sri Lanka, Thailand, they do not want to add Milindapañhā as one of the Pali Canon. So I want to quote one statement from Milindapañhā. It is translated as the debate of King Milinda. So in that text, 4 types of Petas are mentioned. Number one, Ondasika, the spirit who eat vomit, etc. Vomit, blood, and dirty things like that. I think you can see some of them in the movie, right? In the movie. And number 2, Kopipasika, hungry and thirsty spirit. So they are always hungry, they are always thirsty because of their bad karma. Because of their bad karma, they are finding the food. Even though they can see the food, they cannot eat because of their unwholesome karma in their past life, right? In their past life. Maybe we can give an example of as a human being, right? As a human being, even though you see excellent food in the restaurants, if you don't have money, you cannot eat it, right? like that. And then some Petas, even though they see, food, even though they see a lot of water in the river, they cannot eat, they cannot drink, they cannot eat, they cannot drink because of their past karma. So in the commentary, one of the stories said that one Peta is trying, yelling, no, not yelling, it's screaming because of thirsty. So actually he is finding water in the river. Even though he is finding water in the river, he cannot drink. Then, so some monks, they saw that Peta. They trying to bring water with their the alms bowl. They trying to let him drink, but cannot drink because of their past karma. So there are such type of Petas. And number 3 is Nejjamatanika, the spirit who are consumed by craving. The spirit who are consumed by craving. Some people may crave for their family. Some people they may crave for their house, their car, etc. Right? Their car, etc. In the Vinaya Pitaka, there is mentioned that one of the monks, after he died, he became he became, in your heart, what is it, how you call it in English? Huh? Stop, right? Inside in your hair. Huh? Nice, right? Nice, right? So he became nice. And he was living in the rope. In the rope. Then the other monks who want to use that rope and take it. But there is very big roar, big shouting. Don't take it, this is my rope. Because he died, full of attachment with the rope. He has attachment to the rope like that. He became Petas. Actually, I have shared the story of house owner in our village. So she has a lot of craving for her house, her family. So even though family do a lot of good deeds, she has the merit, but she cannot receive it because she do not rejoice it. Craving for family, craving for the house. She knows that after rejoicing, she will have a better life. But she cannot let go, the family, the place. So they are like that. There are some people like that. The spirit who are consumed by craving. It is possible, right? It's possible. You die, you crave for your family. Even though family member may dedicate the good deed to that person, if they have a craving for the house and family, etc., then cannot. And we also heard that there are some monk, Petas, attachment to their monasteries, Actually, they know that this the life as a Petas is suffering, right? Suffering. But because of craving for their place, their monasteries, then they cannot let go. So that means, so there are some Petas like that. One of my teacher, who is living in U.S. right now, and he shared his, not his story, story related to his brother monk. So that monk, when he was 25 years old, and he think that so human beings are very lucky. They can get a chance to listen the Dharma, to do good deed. So there are some other unlucky beings like Petas. So that he have a full of compassion. So he want to do good deed for them. He want to share the merit. So therefore, he decided to go to forests, the remote areas. Before he go, he trying to practice not to eat, for 10 days. He said that because he is going to remote places, sometimes he may miss the food. Because of that, before he go, he trying not to eat the food for 10 days. Then only he went to the remote areas. Then he go one place to another and sharing the merit. He will sit down one place and he will administer 5 precepts. He will give a Dhamma talk. Then after that, he will share the merit. Then after a few days, he didn't see any sentient being, After a few days, he didn't see any sentient beings, any Petas. Then after 1 week, he started to notice there are some signs. There are some signs. But you stay doing, stay continue to, administer 5 precepts, preaching the Dhamma and share the merit. About 10 days, he can see Petas who are sitting down in front of him. So some Peta disappear after observing 5 precepts. Some Peta disappear after learning the Dhamma, after listening to the Dhamma. So some Peta, they disappear after sharing of the merit. So here we can see that, right? Anytime, if the Peta rejoice the good deed, not just dana, not just only dana, but also keeping 5 precepts, listening to the Dhamma talk, then they can get better existences, right? Some Peta do not disappear. They will only come there and listen to the Dhamma and share. Even though, the monks share the merit, they could not receive. Maybe they may have some reason, maybe craving, craving for attachment. Then that monk stay in those places for 10 years. So the Petas became his relative. Then after 10 years, he think that if I die right now, I will be one of the Petas. Because he has the attachment to became relative, right? Became relative to the Petas. Then he thought that if I stay here, continue to stay here, then I will become Peta if I die. So because of that, we call it samvega, spiritual shock. Full of compassion, helping, Petas to get higher existences. Then when he think about his life, then he decided to leave that place and do his own meditation. So my teacher met him in the meditation center. So these are there are some spirit or Petas even around us, right? Around us, especially in the remote area like a cemetery, like that, right? So the next one is Pratatupajivi, the beings who live on the myriad others. So the one who live on the myriad others, rely on the myriad others. So that means some Petas, so they are looking for a chance to get share of the merit. So they are called Pratatupajivi. Out of these 4 type of Petas, only the last one, Pratatupajivi, can get the share of the merit. Only the last one. The other 3 cannot. So actually there are so many type of Petas. Later I will talk about it. So suffering Petas. So they are suffering Petas. They cannot get share of the merit, right? If somebody is thirsty, hungry, suffering, right? They will not rejoice your good deed. This is quite natural. Okay, so up to now, is there any question? Okay.
But I want to ask, the Asura, is it also in the woeful planes?
Yeah, Asura is one of the woeful planes. Yeah. Asura, we call it. Asura is one of the Peta. It's one of the Peta. In the Pali Canon, in the Suttas, there is only three woeful planes. Three woeful planes. Number one, Peta, we call it Peta. Number two, animal realm. Number three, hell. Hell existence. Only three, normally in the Suttas. But Abhidhamma Sangha, the commentary of Abhidhamma, mention four, trying to categorize asura as one of them. Actually, asuras are a kind of Peta,
Good evening, Bhante. This sutta is actually the debate of King Milinda. But I was wondering, how did this debate brought about the four types of petas? And how did he see can he see the petas so that he can actually describe their four types of petas?
Actually, this one, Milindapañhā, is a later, how to say, it is, according to scholar, it is written the first century AD. So that means it's not at the time of the Buddha, right? It's like a kind of commentary. By looking at different type of Peta in the Pali Canon, he trying to summarize. Not the king Milinda. Actually, Venerable Nagasena. Venerable Nagasena is, according to Milindapañhā, he is an arahant, very learned man, and also knowledgeable, good at debating. So the king Milinda trying to ask different, very, difficult question. So Venerable Nagasena trying to answer all these questions. So one of the questions is about Peta, this one, yeah, okay. Maybe I will give you the, this translation. It's very interesting, Okay, any more question? Okay, if no question, let's talk about one of the important texts, Petavatthu. When we talk about Petas or transferring of the merit, we need to learn Petavatthu. It's not his sutta, it's very important, right? It's not his suttas, Petavatthu. Milindapañhā also not his suttas, not the original teachings of the Buddha. It is like a commentary. But here, Petavatthu also, according to scholars, it is a later additional text, not at the time of the Buddha, according to scholars, according to academic. But Theravada tradition believe it is taught by the Buddha. This is one thing to take note, One thing to take note. There may be controversial statements in the Petavatthu. It is up to you whether you believe or you don't believe. It's okay, Later, I will give you the translation of Petavatthu, including commentary. Easy to read. So, to know about sharing of the merit in Theravada Buddhism, we should know Petavatthu. Even, last Sunday, our temple celebrated sharing of the merit. Many people attended. Normally, we read out the name, our departed ones. Then after that, we recited Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu Sutta. Actually, we call it Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu Sutta. It's not a sutta. Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu. We are not using suttas, but we use Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu. So we recited. So now we are going to land. So and after that, we share the merit to our Dipata one. So, sharing of the merit, when we talk about sharing of the merit, Petavatthu is important. It belongs to Khuddaka Nikaya. The whole book called Petavatthu illustrates the story of the Petas who are facing various sufferings continually. So they were reborn in unhappy existences as a consequence of their evil deed. We can find 51 stories in the Petavatthu. The major suffering of Petas are their lack of food, clothing, and dwelling. They don't have a dwelling, they don't have a food, they don't have a clothing. For them, a certain and immediate release from such a misery is performing meritorious deed by their relative and sharing out the merit by his former relative. If they rejoice, if the Peta rejoice the goodie of sharing out the merit, they will receive it. If they do not rejoice, they cannot. They cannot, right? Such instruction is found in Petavatthu, especially in Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu of the first one, and Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu, the fifth one. So I will give you some of the example. So this is the first Peta story. So the first Peta story. Like a fee are the arahants. Like cultivators, those who give. Like a seed, the merit making, or the merit offering. From these, the fruit is produced. So here you can see the simile, right? So the arahants are highest and virtuous recipients. Just give an example. No? So they are like a fee. And the one who give, they are like a cultivators who cultivate the plants. Like the seed, the merit offering. If you do good deed, then it is like a seed. From these, the fruit is produced. This seed, feel, so the seed me, the good deed, the feel me, the recipients, and cultivation, doing good deed, are desirable for the Petas and for the one who give, the donor, both of them. The Peta make use of this, while the donor through that merit grow. So this is the concept of sharing of the merit. So that the donor, they increase their merit. So the Peta, they make use of their merit. That sharing of the merit. Having done right here, what is scale and honor, the Petas, having done that auspicious deed, he, the donor, go to the heavenly place. So this is the first Peta story. So when you look at here, you can see that we are not giving the physical items to the Petas, right? To the Petas. So we are performing good deed, then we share that good deed with the Peta, our departed relatives. So that is the main thing I want to show according to Petavatthu, and also according to Theravada Buddhism. according to Theravada Buddhism. So I say Theravada, so that means it doesn't mean according to Buddhism, It doesn't mean according to Buddhism, According to Mahayana or Jirayana, they may have their own interpretation, right? Own interpretation. Even among the Theravada, we have some of the monks, some of the scholars, they have their own interpretation. They interpret, we can give physical items, clothing, food to our departed one. Later I will show who are they, why they interpret in such a way. What I'm talking is according to Theravada. In other words, according to commentaries. Commentary plus according to Petavatu. So now the main thing is Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu. Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu. According to commentary, the commentary of Petavatu, the Buddha preached. When we talk about commentary, it's not taught by the Buddha. It's very important, right? It's very important. Even Petavatu is controversial text. According to scholars, it is a later development or the later additional text. We call it post-canonical text. Post-canonical text. According to commentary, the Buddha preached Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu to King Bimbisara. So in the commentary, detailed account of Petas are mentioned. So actually, I will not talk about in details. So at the time of previous Buddha, the relative of King Bimbisara, so they made use of Sangha offering. Somebody offered for the Sangha, and they made use of the donation. Because of that, they became Petas. So when, at the time of the Buddha, so nighttime, they make a very big noise to the king, Bimbisara. So Bimbisara became very afraid. So there will be something dangerous. And when he go to the Buddha said that there will be no danger for you. They are your relative. They are expecting that you do good deed, you share good deed with them. So the next day, the Buddha and Sangha are invited. After Sangika Dana, the king shared the good deed with his former relative. So they receive that share of the merit, and their life became higher existences. So that is the story. The king makes general offering to the Buddha and Sangha, and he shared the merit with his former relative who are suffering as a Peta. So there are 12 verses in this story in which we can learn the nature of Petas, how they can escape from this suffering. Actually, Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu is it's very good story that we can learn the nature of the Petas, right? When you want to learn further, you can read Mr. Peter's comments and notes on this sutta. Then you can find Tirokkuḍḍa Sutta by Mr. Peter. When you Google, you will see it. You will see it. I use translation of this Petavatthu, Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu, done by Upacho and Peter Masfi, because they closely follow commentaries. They closely follow Theravada interpretation. Because in Burmese tradition, we normally follow commentary explanation. So therefore, they were not trying to use their own opinion. So when you want to follow Theravada interpretation, you have to follow commentary. It doesn't mean it is good. It doesn't mean it is good. Sometimes the commentary also make a wrong interpretation. So therefore, sometimes I'm trying to comment on that. So it doesn't mean following the commentary is good. It doesn't mean like that, right? Sometimes we need to criticize to the commentary as well. But here, I want to show interpretation of Theravada. So therefore, I follow their translation. So I'm trying to compare, different different translation. So this translation is the best. So number one, so we are going to learn the nature of Peta, right? They stand outside the walls. They mean Petas. We call it ghost, right? Ghost. Avadipata, we cannot say Avadipata relative. Ghost. They stand outside the walls, at junctions and road forks. They go to their own house and stand at the doorpost. You can see that, right? They cannot go into their own house. Some people can go, some people cannot. This is the nature of Peta, right? The nature of Peta. That's the reason why when the monks are going to share the merit, they invite departed relative so that they can come in. Sometimes, if their goodie is not enough, they cannot come into their own house. You can see how they will suffer, right? How they will suffer. Normally, if people die, you do not keep their body, right, in your house. So the nature of Peta, right? So therefore, some scholars translate Peta as a wandering ghost. They are going, Number two, though abandon food and drink, food, hot and salt are served, no one remember those beings or creatures on account of their deed. You can imagine that Petas, your departed relative, standing at the door post. They are seeing you enjoying a good food, happy, talking each other. How they will suffer. So therefore, really suffering. So, they who possess pity, compassionate, give for their relatives the purest, choicest, timely and fitting food and drink. So here, I purposely use the word for. Later I will talk about it. This is an important English term. Those who are compassionate to their departed relative, they will give the purest, choicest, timely and fitting food and drink. It's not mentioned to whom, not mentioned. This is a controversial place. So therefore, two interpretations is possible. So therefore here I follow Theravada tradition for their relative. Let this be for our relatives. May all our relatives be happy. So this line you already hear. Idam wo, idam me nyatinan hotu, sukhita hotu nyatayo. The originally, the Petavatthu use war, right? Idam wo nyatinan, or me, or nyatina, our relative. Sometimes best they use idam wo nyatinan hotu. War is a plural form, may is singular form. Let this be for our relatives. May our relative be happy. Rejoice. So some people use nor, so here's no, nor, which is a synonym of war. Some use may as a singular form. Idam me nyatinan hotu, sukhita hotu nyatayo. So the moment you are reciting, you must dedicate your good deed to your departed relatives. May this merit be for my relatives. So as I earlier said that, two interpretations is possible. Give it to, if you look at this particular place, particular place. But when you look at the other two verses from this vattu, only one interpretation is possible. Offering to the Sangha or to the virtual people. Not only Sangha, people normally think that offering to the Sangha, of course, is good. But you can offer to virtual people as well. Then you share the merit. It's possible. Some people make a translation mistake. So now I use the word mistake because I'm Theravada. But of course, it's very hard to say it's a mistake. In this verse number 3, they translate the word nyatinan as a to their relatives. To their relative. They offer food to them, to the Petas, not to the Sangha, not to the virtual people. According to Theravada interpretation, we offer to the Sangha or to the virtual people. Then we share the merit. We acquire the merit. We share that merit to our relatives. So therefore, I use the word for instead of to. According to Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu, the last two verses, it should be translated as for their relatives. We cannot give physical items to the Petas, according to Petavatthu. So this is a translation from this Petavatthu, Petas story, this book, from this book. That translate on the printed by Palita Society, PTS, Palita Society. So this is a Bhikkhu Ñāṇamoli. So they who are compassionate at heart do give for relatives, not to relative, for, no? Bhikkhu Ñāṇamoli. Then Sanisaro Bhikkhu, he also used the word for, for. The same paragraph, the same paragraph. The same Pali, different translation. Thus, those who feel sympathy for their dead relatives give timely donation of proper food and drink. So here is a one translation done by Asma Agacheta. Those who have sympathy give thus to their relative. to their relative. In his book called Honoring the Departed. Honoring the Departed. So in this small book, Asma Agacheta put forward his idea that we can give physical items to our departed relative. Just like a Chinese, right? Chinese. So you prepare food for our departed relatives. Not only food, you prepare so many things, right? Like a clothing. Some people even burn the many paper, right? Many paper and houses, etc., right? So according to his interpretation, Asma Agacheta, he is a Malaysian Chinese. I think many of you know him, right? Many of you know him. According to him, he mentioned that he literally translates as a two departed relatives. So we can get physical food and physical clothing to our departed relatives directly. So Mr. Pieta also used the word two. Thus, they give to their relative, they who are compassionate. And also, H.S. gay men, they who are compassionate give their kinsmen. This is the number 4. So when you look at here, we have a two interpretation. So when we read Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu, all the 12 verses, it's quite clear that it's not a given to the physical items to the Petas, according to Petavatthu, according to Theravada Buddhism. Of course, when you look at the statement in the suttas, it seems that interpretation of giving physical item to the Peta is possible. So therefore, Asma Agacheta also learned a monk and weavers in the Pali Canon. So therefore, he interpret such a way. Okay, then number 4. And those Peta relatives who have gathered and assembled there respectfully show their appreciation for the abundant food and drink. So here, ye tata anumodandi. So I want to show this one, anumodandi. Those who rejoice in such deed. Because in this place, I do not like translation of Upacho and Peter Masfi. So when you look at here, not just showing their appreciation, rejoicing, feeling happy. So when the family member share the merit, the departed Peta relative, they feel very happy, joyous feeling in their mind. That joyous feeling, anumodandi, transform their life. Those who rejoice in such a deed. Because Petas, they rely on, live on the good deed or other, their relative, right? Their relative. So therefore, when their relative do good deed, they rejoice. They feel very happy, So that happiness, that joyous feeling transform their life. Anumodandi. So this is the idea, right? So therefore, no wonder when the Peta disappear after observing 5 precepts, right? They feel very happy. After hearing the Dhamma talk, they feel very happy. After share the merit, they feel very happy. So that happy feeling transforms their life. Therefore, I always say to the departed relatives, so when we are chanting, normally our temple, so we perform chanting when we are invited to the wake. So I told the departed relative, anytime, if the departed one was born as a Peta, anytime he can be transformed, He may see our chanting, right? We are chanting, group chanting, very soothing. Then after hearing group chanting, he may have or she may have a joyous and happy feeling, That happy feeling, anumodandi, transform his life. He will have a higher existences, higher life. So, anytime, not after sharing all the merit, right? So the main purpose here is rejoice. I think when you die, you may become Peta, right? Remember that you must have a rejoice, happiness. When your relatives share the merit, anytime, right? Anywhere. A long life to our relative, by means of who we have gained all this. For honor has been paid to us, and those who give are not without fruit. Actually, departed relative, they are honor to their relative. So they are grateful to their relative. For there is no cultivation there, nor is there here any cattle rearing, no, nor are there such things as a trading, buying and selling with the gold. No trading, no business there. So here the most important line, the Petas, those who have passed on, are there, sustained by what is given from here. That's very important. Ito denena yapinti. Ito denena yapinti. The Petas, those who have passed on, are there, sustained by what is given from here, from their relative, Ito denena yapinti. So they sustained by what is given from their relative. So when you look at this line, ito denena yapinti, also it leads to two interpretation, right? You get physical food, it's possible. You give, you share the merit, also possible. So therefore, in Pettavattu is one of the Abhidhamma texts, well-known texts. Its commentary mentioned that some of the monks, the 3rd century BC, at the time of King, maybe before King Asoka, 3rd century BC, so they put forward the view that Petas partake of the very same physical items, such as the food, drinks, citing a Pali phrase from Pettavattu, Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu. Ito denena yapinti Peta kalingata tehe. The Peta those who have passed on are there, sustained by what is given from here. So looking at that particular verse, so they have the idea, the view that we can give physical things to the Petas. Not only this time, right? In earlier time also, some of the monks, they have the view, we can get physical things to the Petas. So therefore, Pettavattu trying to clarify, it's not in accordance with Theravada Buddhism. No? Theravada Buddhism. Okay, any question? Okay. Yeah, not according to Theravada.
So it's something like the Taoist.
Sorry?
Something like the Taoist method.
Yeah.
Where we
possibly.
offer.
How about according to Mahayana? They can give physical, right? Physical food. According to Mahayana. Who know? Anyone who? Yes, right? According to, yeah. Mahayana, they interpret literally. Even the Theravada monks, like Asama Akacheta, right? We also have the view. We can give physical food to the Petas like that. Therefore, for me, I think that anything is okay, right? The main thing is, right? Compassion, right? Compassion. We shouldn't forget compassion in our heart. When the departed one, the family or departed one come to temple, I always say that you come to temple, it takes a lot of time. Some people even take a leave, right? Take a leave. Then all the way to temple. Show your compassion, compassion and love to the departed one. Like we remember, right? Kind of remembrance. We remember them. Even they cannot receive your good deed, we should show our love and compassion, right, to them. And also we should show our respect and gratitude to them. Either you come to transfer the merit, or either you go to the tomb, right? I want to say the cemetery to offer physical food. Not easy, right? It need a lot of time and also a lot of energy, effort. So therefore, I want to say, if you really want to follow Theravada Buddhism, actually there are many people who follow Theravada Buddhism only, so they stop going to cemetery, they come here and transfer the merit. But there are many who do both. It's okay, right? Actually, normally Buddhism is very tolerate, so you can follow, right? The main thing is compassion, Main thing is compassion to your relative. Some people came to temple to transfer the merit to their pet, to their cat, to their dog, right? To their dog, like that. A few weeks ago, one devotee bring their very, very old dog. They said they want to get blessing, then I do blessing. Then they say, they really say that after blessing, recover. But of course, old age cannot avoid. Recently, it died. And they have a lot of, they left their dog. Because of then, they share the merit. The moment it cremated, they share the merit. And 49 days, they will come to temple. That's the way, they show their compassion and also their love. Even the dog cannot receive the departed one. The owner of the dog will have a release, right? Release. So that is the purpose of sharing of the merit. Okay, any question? Okay. So the reason I read out the sutta is, it shows the nature of Petas, and also it shows the opinion of Theravada Buddhism. So this is in number 7. Oname udakan otan yatanenam pawatati iwameva itorenam petana upakapati. And many of you have heard of that, right? So after sharing the merit, we normally recite from Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu. as water rain on the upland flow down to the lowland. Even so, does what is given from here benefit the Petas? Another one, Jatava Rivahapura Pripurentu Sagaran Evameva Itorinam Petana Upakapati. Just as swelling stream swept the ocean, even so does what is given from here benefit the Peta. So we are reciting two verses. Number 9, he gave to me, he worked for me, he was a relative, friend and companion to me. Thus, recalling what they used to do, one should give donation for the Peta. Here also for, I purposely use the word for, to follow Theravada interpretation. But here also another option, to the Petas, right? Should give donation to the Petas. No amount of weeping, sorrow, or any other lamentation benefit the Peta, though their relative persists in them. So this paragraph mentioned that weeping, sorrow, lamentation is not good for the Peta. Not good for the Peta. What is good for the Peta? It mentioned 11. But this donation that has been made and firmly planted in the Sangha will serve with the immediate effect their long-term benefit. So now here we see recipient, right? The Sangha. It doesn't mean just to the Sangha. You can give anyone who is virtuous. In one of the story in Petavatthu mentioned that so a group of merchants, so they are traveling through the desert. In the desert there is a mansion, very beautiful mansion, house. So they saw beautiful girl in that mansion. So the merchant told to come out, let her come out. The girl said, no, I cannot come out. No clothing. Then one of the clever merchants said that somebody donate the clothing to the virtual one. So they find out a virtual merchant among them, that somebody donate the clothing to the merchant, to that merchant. And they share the merit. Then the girl rejoiced the good deed. Then she received the clothing. Earlier they gave physical clothing to the Petas. But she said, no, I cannot take it. Then they share the merit, then she received, only after that. So what I want to say is not just offering to the Sangha, Then after offering to virtual person also can be done. But this donation that has been made and firmly planted in the Sangha will serve with the immediate effect their long-term benefit. Now this, the duty to one's relative, has been pointed out. The higher honor has been paid to the Petas. Strength have been furnished to the monks. Here also, the recipients. And not trifling the meritorious deed pursued by you. If you offer to the Sangha, share the merit, they will receive. So this is the way according to Theravada. So after reading Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu, I think you know some of the nature of the Petas, right? How we can do for them. According to Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu, there are a few conditions for the Peta to receive the immediate result of merit. Number one, the donor must think of the departed one and dedicate this dana to them. Suppose if one of the family members die in your family, you dedicate to them. If possible, you read out their name, just we do in the shrine hall last Sunday. We read out the departed relatives. Then after that, we share the merit, right? More than 300 family give their names. And we read out their name, that their departed relatives. Then after that, we share the merit. Therefore, in Burmese tradition, normally we do not follow Pali stanza. We follow our own language, mentioning the name of the departed one. Suppose it's somebody, say Stephen. It's Stephen dying. We mention Mr. Stephen. We are going to share the merit. Wherever you are, come and rejoice. We share the merit like that, mentioning the name. Then the recipient must be virtuous. The recipient must be virtuous. And number three, the departed one must rejoice. The transparent of the merit. That's the most important one, right? Anumodhanti. If the Peta do not rejoice, then no way to get. They will not get any share. Okay, any question? Okay. If you have a Peñhā or higher direct, I don't know. The question is how we know the departed one rejoice. If you have a special power, of course, we do not know. We do not know. Some people may know, like a monk, right? He can see that some of the Peta disappear after keeping 5 precepts, like that. Okay.
Bante, for example, today is my sister's death anniversary.
Today?
Yeah.
Wow.
So if I'm attending this course, listening to this talk, so it's considered like later on I can share the merit to her?
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
Okay.
Even today you do good deed like learning the Dharma. You can share it, right?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Question?
Hi, sorry, I have 2 questions.
Okay.
The first question is regarding the 2 and 4 interpretation. So
Sorry?
the 2 and 4, like gives 2 and versus transfer of the merits 4. So in the Kata-petavatthu, right, they mentioned giving to the Sangha, right, firmly. So donation that has been made and firmly planted in the Sangha will serve. So that was quoted. So if you mention directly, like you give to the Sangha, then if your point of view is to give to the food, right, then how do you support that when they say give to the Sangha and not directly to the Petas? That's the first question.
Okay, yeah.
The second question is, you mentioned there that the donor must think of the departed one and dedicate his dana to them. But previously, it was also mentioned that if your departed one is not there, then you automatically go to people who are like your relatives in your current life or your past life. So is there really
not automatically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not automatic. The relative in your previous life, they may rejoice. Okay.
Yeah, so whether the question is whether if it may go to them, right? Whether the condition number 1 is required.
Yeah, actually, so therefore, Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu talk about the Sangha, or when you see the recipient, right? Recipients. And then other Petavatthu, as I earlier quoted, the lady, right? The lady, naked lady in the beautiful mansion. So the trader, they think that is a human being. So therefore they give clothing to her so that she can come out from the mansion. But she cannot receive it, right? So one of the merchant gave the clothing to the virtuous trader. Then they share that goodie to the Petas, Peta women. So here is not just, of course, this sutta talk about to the Sangha. It can be any individual. Of course, must be virtuous, And also we can share the merit, other good deed, like a precept, and also meditation as well. So suppose you are meditating, if your departed relative see it, then he or she will be very happy. That happiness create a goodie for them. Yeah. So, let's see. Of course, this one is a how to say, very hard thing to believe for some people, right? So,
Morning, sorry, but I just want to check if we share the merits. There is when we pour the water. So the meaning is it that when we pour the water, our departed relatives will also receive the merits that we share with them?
we use the water. It's a symbolism actually. Even you do not use water, it says stay okay. As long as you read out Itam me ñātinan hotu, then if the departed relative rejoice and feel happy, they will get the share of the merit. So actually, in this, the word Pali, anumodana, sometimes we call anumodana, right? Feeling rejoice, happy, That's the main thing. So without using water or pouring water, it's also okay. You just dedicate your thought to your departed relative, and you read out your you speak out. May this done. You can do in English as well, in Chinese, in your language, Then the most important thing is departed relative must be rejoiced, feel happy for that. So that happiness transforms their life. So I think, of course, when you look at like a human being, it's hard to believe, right? Hard to believe. As a human being, we rejoice, in the goodie of other people. No different, right? Only small different. Because human beings live on their own karma. But in the case of Petas, it's different. So some of the Peta, like a Pratatupajivi, the being who live on the goodie of other people, right? So even rejoice, feeling happiness, transform their life. Okay.
Hi, Bhante. Can I ask, I have got two questions. So Number one, you said the departed relatives, it's related in a way to us. So can we not transfer our merits to friends or somebody that we like? Is there any point doing that?
We can, even to animals, even to
Okay.
animals.
Because
they
the
are-
story that you just shared with us, they are not related, right? The sanghas and the woman who is actually not having clothes.
Oh, yeah. Not related to, but now they see the ghost, right? They see the naked girl who covered her body with the hair. So that means they are not related to that Peta, but they dedicated to that Peta, right? Because of that, she rejoices. So that in Jāṇussoṇī Sutta, the Buddha said that. So there is no one who is not related to each other, no? Anyone is relative. So in our previous existences, we are related to one another, one way or another. So therefore, of course, as a human being, we dedicate our nearest relative, right? Nearest relative.
So even if we walk past a funeral, we really don't know that person,
Sorry,
but we
can
want to
Sorry?
dedicate the merit. So let's say we walk past a wake. Yeah, we can even dedicate we can even share the merits to the person.
Yeah, can. Yes, can.
Okay, that's good. Then my next question is the second point here, the recipients must be virtuous. Who decides that?
We have to look at, not who decide. We have to look at whether it's virtuous behavior. Virtuous means must be a good contact. So that is according to commentary. Okay. Of course, we can give to not virtuous people, also considered as a good deed, right? Good deed. But that good deed may not be very powerful. I think next one is a question from the student. I think not enough time for this. Then if you have a question, then you can ask one or two. So this one we'll talk about next week. No question, eh? Okay, so the main thing we have to remember, two interpretations possible. When you look at the suttas, it does not clearly say, you do good deed, you share the merit, right? Share the merit. Only when you look at Jāṇussoṇī Sutta, earlier sutta, right? Do good deed, offer to the Brahmin, share that good deed to the departed relative. It's not about Buddhism, right? Not about Buddhism. We talk about Brahmanism, right? Brahmanism. So when you read later, I think I will quote some of the places. So after reading all these one, so you will notice that two interpretations possible, right? Possible. Given to preparing the food for the departed one, it's a kind of honoring to them, right? Showing your gratitude to them. That's the one interpretation. If you really want to follow the Theravada doesn't mean Pali Canon, Pali Canon we normally say early Buddhism, early Buddhism. Theravada means like a Petavatthu, Theravada, Milindapañhā, Theravada, Tirokkuḍḍa-petavatthu, like that. So there are later post-canonical texts, and also the commentaries, Visuddhimagga, commentaries. So they are Theravada. But Theravada also trying to rely on the Pali Canon. Pali Canon, what we are using is we call it Ali Buddhism, right? Ali Buddhism. So therefore, some of the scholars in Theravada, they're trying to rely on the suttas, not the commentary, not the commentary. But for me, the commentary is also very important. Because of the commentary explanation, we understand deeper meaning. So, and also then Abhidhamma also a kind of Theravada. We have 7 Abhidhamma texts in Theravada, and also other schools also their own Abhidhamma. So therefore, Abhidhamma, Visuddhimagga, Milindapañhā, the commentaries, these are Theravada. The Pali Canon, especially the first 4 Nikayas, Digha Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya, Samyutta Nikaya, and Anguttara Nikaya. So they are Ali Buddhism. So therefore, even Mahayana monks, they're trying to learn, Nikaya, 4 Nikayas. Even some of the texts from Khuddaka Nikaya, one of them is a Petavatthu, Vimanavattu, all these are Theravada, Theravada. So whether you accept or you don't accept, okay, okay. One of the sharing of the merit also interpretation of Theravada, interpretation of Theravada. Other school may interpret differently, right? Okay, that's all. So let's call it a day. Yo varatam bhavaro manu jesu sakyamuni bhagava gata kecho paragato bala viriya samangi Dan sukatan saranata mupemi ragavi ragama ninjama sokan Dhamma masanggatama patikulan Madura mimampa gunan suvipatan Dhamma mimansara natamupemi Yata jati nama apalamahu Chatu su sisu purisa yugesu Atacha pogala dhammadasate Sangha mimansara natamupemi Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.